why I did it. All right. Farming. Today is the 22nd of August, and we're talking about farming. And there's a couple of different things I wanted to cover. One of them is related to the concept of blogging for a farm. And that is also just generally related to the idea of putting stuff on a website that you could use for a farm as well. So what I recommend is that for beginning bloggers is that we go to Google and use the Google blogging platform, which is known as Blogger, also known as Blogspot. It's named after a dog. Did you know that one of the Google main guys, his dog is called Blogspot? I may be wrong about that. So I'm going to use one of my blogs, which I call Silicon Valley Real Estate. I have a bunch of them. Only one of them has actually been used for very much. The one that's called Silicon Valley Real Estate. And I explained, I think, before, if you don't know how to create a Blogger blog, my suggestion is go to Google, type in Blogger blog tutorial, and you'll find more than you ever wanted to know about how to create a Blogger blog. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to click on Silicon Valley Real Estate. And we're going to start with something relatively easy. I think it's relatively easy. So I'm logged into kw.com as Sylvia, and I'm going to just see what Sylvia has done. This is always dangerous if you let me log in as you. So I'm going to go to where it says create marketing materials. And I can count on Sylvia to have done this month in real estate. Right? I can kind of count on that. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to go to my saved designs under portfolio. And then here they are. And so this is a long one. This is a short one. This is a longer one. August and Gilroy. And this was done for email. Now, one of the thoughts is that you notice the difference between these two. Besides this, in addition to the fact that they're probably from different months, is the one that is small is just got the statistics, and that's something that would be designed for a postcard. And the one on the right is designed for an email. Can anybody, which of the two would you preferably use if you were going to save it as a picture and post it on the website? Postcard? Postcard. Everybody uses postcard. All right. So does the postcard image have your name, your phone number, your contact information, or a call to action?
No, but
your blog does on the side, maybe. How prominent is your name, your phone number, and a call to action? So let me ask this: would it be a good practice that if we post anything, we included in the post your name, your phone number, and a call to action? So let me try this again. If you were going to pick one of the two to post, which one would you post? How about the email one? Because
how about a postcard and then you just add additional content?
You could do that too, but let's say you wanted to be efficient, and you only wanted to do one thing at a time. You could just use the one that already has your contact information and a call to action. Right? I'm not saying there's only one way to do it, but what you ought to do is every time you post something, you ought to have a call to action. You ought to have your name, your phone number, and your email address. All right? I'm just saying. And on the side, we can put that information. I'll show you how to do that maybe today, maybe not, but I'm going to just pick this one. And so here it all is. And I have to admit, I have to look at this. Copy this URL to a website or your favorite social media network. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but we're going to copy that just to see what happens. It's just a link. It's just a link. Right. And so let's just see what happens. So I'm going to save this. And what I want to do is, I realize it's just a link, but what I want to do is view the blog. Just want to see. Just don't get all. And this is not a blog I normally use. So let me preview. Just see what it does. That's all that you get. Now, if we copy that and we put this in here, I'm more interested in what the website looks like. That's what it looks like. All right, now that doesn't look too bad. By the way, one of the choices you could have, if I right click and I say save image as, and I just put this someplace where I can find it, this is the easy way to do it. And I call this Sylvia August 2014 Gilroy. Now, let me do this better. Google, technology is advancing, and other platforms are doing this as better than Google is. But unless there's something that Google has implemented recently that I don't know about, Google is not good at telling what is in a picture. Right? There are programs that actually will analyze the picture and look for words and look for images and figure out what they are. Google, the way Google knows what's in a picture is by what in internet geek speak is called the image tag. And basically what that means is what name do you give the picture? So if I say Gilroy, the most common phrase is homes for sale, Gilroy, real estate market update. You can overdo this. August 2014. Google, by the way, doesn't really care about upper and lower case. So the reason I've done that is because when I upload the image, which is what I'm going to do now, when I upload the image, what Google will see is what I named the image as.
Oh, that's good. So that
Right. It becomes a tag, and when Google is deciding whether or not to show somebody, so you notice when I downloaded the image, it was a bunch of numbers with an underscore and a bunch of numbers, underscore, a number, and a letter. What does that tell Google, right? But if somebody is searching for Gilroy homes for sale, which, by the way, homes for sale and the location is the #1 keyword phrase that people are putting in, plus Gilroy market statistics, I put that in just in case somebody's searching for that. Do you understand? This is called tagging pictures. Takes a minute, but now we're in Blogger in all of its glory, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on the little button that says Insert Image. And we're going to click on Choose File, and Homes for Market Update, August 2000, and we're going to just click on it, and there's the image. So we add the image. By the way, if you Google search, how do I do stuff in Blogger, you're going to find all sorts of stuff, but we've added the image. And if we click on it, we have choices. And the choices are small, medium, large, or extra large, or original size. Let's see, original size is pretty big. Extra large is a little smaller. Large, there we go. And the reason why this becomes important, it has to do with our columns and things like that. So let's just say that was a good enough, right? Now, that, by the way, we could put on any agency website. We could put it on anything, right? So all this is an image, and we could post it, and I would write something about this, right? In other words, the most time-consuming part of blogging is that you have to look at the numbers and actually say, well, what does this mean? Now, in terms of it just listed, let me show you another. Let's say you wanted to focus on something on your website. Let's go to marketing, and I'll show you a way to do that. So marketing listings, we're going to click on flyers. And so let's say there's one of these you like. Now this one has a particular advantage in that you see there's this area up at the top, right? But let's say there's one of these that you particularly like. I'm not really that fussy about it. I kind of like sometimes the ones with the circle in the middle. What, do you like that one? All right, so I'm going to click on this one. And it says choose a listing, enter an MLS number. Most of our MLS numbers begin with 8. So I just started with that. and I found a bunch of them. Now, if the system isn't as good as it used to be, and that it doesn't show you all of the office listings right away, it just shows you, I don't know, but so if you had a particular listing you wanted to do this for, you would go to the MLS. You need to know the MLS number. How about that? Or it has to be one that pops up automatically, and they're not all there, right? And I don't know why it's doing this. Oh, there we go. Now we're seeing more. How about Mirabella, your favorite one, your favorite one. So we're going to click on personalize. Now I'm not going to go through all the process of fixing everything, but the idea is, how would you put this as a featured property on a website? So I'm going to do that. All right, blog, and I'll do it on an e-agency just for because I'm paid by the word. Did you have a question?
Sorry, I missed. What size did you do the previous postcard?
I saved it. First of all, I'm not too sure if that was the right size, but I saved it as large. Right, and the reason that I say I'm not too sure is that if you click on View Blog, it's going to show, and I don't know why this says Rick Core and Michael Dove. I don't know, but I have no idea. I don't know. This is just something I was doing. Is that your blog? Am I doing? I don't know why we're. You messed. Is that?
I did have that content.
All right. Well, I'm not going to actually post anything. I'll. If by the way, if you want to move something to another blog, so I'm just going to close this. I copied the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my blogs. You must have made me something or other. So let's pick San Jose Life and Real Estate. No post. So I just sometimes when I'm bored I make a blog. Just don't know why. So now there we are. Everything looks the same. Now if I click on preview, the point about the size has to do with, come on, here we go. Whether or not how it fits in here. Now these columns, right? The sidebar and everything. I could turn this off, the About Me part, but notice there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like it has sort of like my resume that may be more than I wanted. We can change what's there. But if I wanted to, let's say I go back here, I'll get out of that one. I'll go back here and I'll make this extra large, and then I'm going to preview it. You'll see the problem is that it's probably now too big. That's how my mind is. I'm the small cog. I am merely a, what is it, a watch stop. It's a Tolstoy quote, but it's not helping me. So, what? Oh, so soon? You need a bath? Anyhow, I don't need to. The point is that sometimes when you preview it, what you end up seeing is that it's too big. So the idea is that you need to size it so that it fits on your blog without overlapping into the sidebar. All right, so that's one way to do it. Let's just, what I'm going.
Can I make a dumb sounding comment about that? If I was just looking at that blog screen, that would be too small for me to read.
Well, but if you're looking at it at your computer, this is just something that you can post. By the way, what I would do with this image is I would post it on Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn as a post.
And,
right.
And do you do it from Blogger for some reason, or from?
Well, that's possible. That's a good question. It's possible to set a Blogger, but this is, we're going to have to do this in pieces. It's possible to set up Blogger. So, for example, I use my blog, when I post something on my blog, it automatically posts to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn posts it to Twitter, it posts to Google Plus, and it posts to my Facebook page. I don't have to do,
Wow.
all I have to do is post it one time. Now, if you're wondering, well, how would you possibly do this? I could walk through it, but I wanted to do something else. Let's say you were to go to That Which Knows All, and you type in, how do I auto post from BLOGG Blogger to Facebook? How about that? That just pops up. How do I auto post from Blogger to Facebook? And there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. One of these is an article that says 8 ways to automatically share your blog posts. Now that one is a WordPress. So there's a bunch of different ways in which you could do it. How to automatically share your blog posts on Facebook, automatically post on Facebook, automatically blog to Facebook, automatically, there's, you know, there's ways of doing it.
So you auto post to Google Plus to
Google,
Twitter?
yeah, when I post something on my blog, it goes to Google Plus, it goes to Facebook page, it goes to my Facebook profile, and it goes to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is set up so it goes to my Twitter account.
Okay.
I noticed when it goes to Google Plus or when I put it on Facebook that sometimes it looks ugly because the picture just is half there or
Right. The problem with auto posting is that sometimes the size doesn't look good. Right. And some of the auto posters will take an image from your website rather than the one you have. It would be better to do it automatically. Right. And there's I'm off what I was going to talk about, but I also have a subscription to a program called Hootsuite. Hootsuite. And Hootsuite is a multiple platform auto posting program. I'm sure you're shocked to know I have a Hootsuite. Now, the way Hootsuite would work, which I have more than one Hootsuite account. The way Hootsuite works, I'll use this one. It is that Hootsuite, what you would do is write your blog post, and then Hootsuite, by the way, is a reader, and you can see how it's already set up for all these different things. And so what I would do is once I've written a blog post, I would pop it into Hootsuite. I would compose something and add a message. Now, the reason for this is that different social networks have different size requirements. So a blog post is, depending upon what you set it, is somewhere between 500 and 600 pixels wide. Right? That's pretty big. Right? Now, Facebook is not so big. LinkedIn, not so big, right? And so that's a problem. So in Hootsuite, notice when I hover, it says compose a message. So I could take the link to the blog post, paste it in, and I could type in a little message that would go with the link. And then when and by the way, one of the cool things about Hootsuite, I just love saying that name, is that you can schedule the posts. So, for example, what you can do is you could allocate time block, a certain amount of time each week, and write a series of posts or even Hootsuite messages and Hootsuite posts. And you could say, I want this one to go out tomorrow, and this one to go out on Wednesday, this one to go out on Thursday, and then because people generally are using social networks on the weekend, they're doing it before work, during work, at lunch, and after work, right? You understand? I mean, people are, you could say they're doing it all the time on their smartphones, but computers at most offices block things like LinkedIn, Facebook, and a bunch of other things, right? So the people, when they're on at lunch, right, they're doing stuff. So the timing of it goes up. So there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. Why don't we not? Right, I'd be happy to do a class on syndication. But one of the things that you can add into Blogger is this little bit of code that at the bottom of every post it's going to be putting in what are called share buttons. So, and the reason you want to do that is so that when people read your blog post and they want to share it, they can click on the Facebook button and they'll put it on their Facebook feed. So the bottom line, one of the easy ways of sharing things with different networks is for you to actually put the share buttons on your Blogger blog, and then you could just log in and click the buttons on the ones you have. Right. By the way, it helps that you're logged into LinkedIn, Facebook, and all these things when you start the process because it'll ask you to log in. So Hootsuite's one of them. There's another program called Buffer. But let's just talk about writing a post, okay? But once we get in the habit of writing posts, we'll talk more about syndicating the posts. I was in this was a few years ago. I was doing this class on Blogger, and I made the comment that at the time it was easier than it is now to get something picked up by Google within like 24 to 48 hours. And some guy in the class said, you can't do that, right? Because Google doesn't index every blog immediately, right? You understand? There's just way too many of them. And so I made a bet that I could get this to show up in a Google search in 2 days, and I did. And I was so proud of myself, and Google deleted my blog because of what I did. So I don't know if you're fans of or saw the Lord of the Rings movie, right, or read any of those books, but in it there's this the big red eye, the big evil eye, turned. So the big red eye of Google turned. I got its attention, and it turned, looked at my blog, and it said, "What are you doing? How could you do that?" Because I had posted it on 50. I had links on 50 different social networks. And I had a program that automatically did it. Everywhere there were all these links pointing to my blog. And so even though Google wasn't indexing my blog every day, they were indexing all these other sites, and they kept seeing all these links. And it was a blog that I was using for training purposes, which meant it made no sense. And when Google looked at it, they pulled the plug, and it took me like 8 months to get it back. And when I got it back from them, it was wiped clean of content. Be careful. Yeah. So it is but you understand, having your blog post linked on all these different social networks where Google is indexing them all the time, it's not just that people might click on it, but Google will see these links, right, pointing to your blog. All right. So let's why don't we write how much time? Why don't we write a blog post, right? I'll show you a way of easily doing this. Now, one of the first things to do, and I haven't really read the articles because I'm just freestyling this, but I sign up for just about everything. I've created Google alerts for just about everything, and our friends at Trulia have a blog post, or a post, this is probably on their blog, called 7 Deal Killing Staging Signs to Avoid, right? And I thought that sounded interesting, right? So, what? Sins. I was just seeing if you're paying attention. So I'm going to click on this.
Are you recording today?
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah. So major signs that a home is staged wrong. Now, there's a lot of stuff. Now, this is a lot of content. Google. The question is it too much content? There's 2 ways to answer that: too much for the reader or too much for Google. Now, it used to be that Google they had a certain window that they wanted. It was like 300 to 600 words, right? And they really wanted 300 to 600 words. And they figured that if you were writing too much less, then, or too much more, that something was wrong with you, right? But they've sort of loosened up on that. Right, so they're not so concerned about it. Now, there are a couple of ways in which we could do this. Now, let's say I'm going to start with best practices, and you're really interested in blogging. Now, people tell me they don't have time to blog. I'm going to write a blog post, right? So let's say let's say I'm interested in this, and so I'm going to just open up a browser, and I'm going to type in Google home staging mistakes. Worst home staging mistakes. That even sounds better. I'm going to click on that. Now, here's 20 home staging. Here's 17, now 18 worst staging. Staging shockers, 9. Staging misses, selling. Staging 101, 3. Do you understand? If I wanted to come up with a list of home staging mistakes, I could come up with a list, right? Now, sometimes what I would do is I'd pick the one with the longest one, start there. The other thing that's always interesting to do is just click on images. And here's a picture of a woman holding her nose. Look, I like this is the top 20 home staging mistakes. Is that a house? I don't know. So you might find humorous pictures. You might find humorous pictures of home staging mistakes, right? But let's just go back up here and say we're on the web, and we're going to look at home staging mistakes. Now, we could use the Trulia article. Maybe since I started with the Trulia article, why not? So what I usually do is I make this a little bit smaller, and I open up Notepad, which is just this free little thing. And now I'm going to start with best practice. Best practice is I'm going to take a look at this, and ever seen a staged home and asked yourself what were they thinking? Now, at this point, we have options. One option is we could take a look at all those different articles we found on home staging mistakes. And what I used to do is I'd take out a notepad and a pen, and I would just write out, paraphrasing what all the mistakes were, and make my own list. And then, do you understand? I could, by looking at doing 5 minutes worth of research, I could come up with a really long list. Right? That's one option. Another option, your SELF. I'm not plagiarizing it. I'm doing research.
Good, because you're paraphrasing into your own words. You're putting it into your own words.
Right. So the idea is that you look at all of them and you write down, this one's got 20, this one's got 3, and so what I'm looking at to see if anybody's got. I want the ultimate list. And in fact, I might even call this home staging mistakes, the ultimate list, right? And go through all of them and list them all. Right, but so did you understand that, by the way, would be best practice. All right, you actually do a little bit of research and you write something.
You can even put the source in if you want.
Well, right now we're getting to that. Right now, if I went and looked at the first page of Google's home staging mistakes, and I took out a piece of paper and I wrote out all the ones that I could find, only adding the new ones from all the different articles, I would have my list. All right, I would have my list. Now, I don't have to tell Google, I don't have to have a bibliography that says here are all the different places that I read. I don't have to do that. I've got my own list. My own list is different from anybody else's list because I've looked at every of them, all of them. By the way, if you're thinking about this, one of the things you ought to be doing is previewing homes. Have you ever seen a home where there's a staging that you thought was kind of stupid? Right? Take a picture of it. Right?
So we can take pictures and should we ask before we do it?
Ask who?
The agent?
I would just take a picture of it. How about that? What?
I just found nothing.
Thank you.
It's Google is amazing.
Google is sure. So the idea. So you understand? One thing we could do is, could we have a running commentary on our blog of home staging mistakes?
Yeah.
Right? And every time you see something that looks stupid, take a picture of it. Right? You don't have to say I was at 123 Greenwood Drive and I saw the stager's name was, and look at, you just take a picture of it, and then you could put it in your post. So that's one option is you have a topic, you do a little bit of research, and you come up with your own little article. Now, some people are more interested in this because some people are decent at writing and they think this does not take as, I could have done this in the amount of time that I've been talking about it, right? Because all I'm doing is writing out. The other thing, that option number 2 is we're going to refer to a particular article. And you would say, I read a interesting article, publis by Trulia. Did you hear that? Trulia, which lists the top 7 home staging.
Just using this as an example, right? Because what benefit, what value would this be to consumers on the staging these days?
What value would it be?
To consumers.
So they have their home set up correctly before it gets the pictures done.
So I'm not going to go into some of the programs about keyword research. However, having done keyword research in the real estate market, I happen to know that a very popular search is getting my home ready to sell. What do I need to do to sell my home? Right? I happen to know that those kinds of searches are huge for people that are selling their homes. I just happen to know that. Right? One of their biggest concerns is, what do I have to do if I'm thinking about selling my home? So the 2 general topics that come up under those searches are staging and what do I need to fix and repair. Like what renovations, remodeling, and repairs should I make if I'm selling my home? That's a different post. And should I stage or not? So I'm piggybacking on that interest. Right? I know that people that are thinking of selling their homes are interested. You notice that this would be a home seller blog post, right? So right now I'm just referring to what. Here, let me make this a little smaller so I don't run out of space. I'm just referring to the article, and I'm gonna. All right. And so here they are. And so number 1 is BLOCK, blocking the flow, and I would just of the home, right? And so I'm going to look at this. If you want to make sure you open the way, that means making sure the big furniture and other obstacles don't block. Remember that many buyers, open floor plans are a big bonus. All right, so how about this? Many buyers prefer open floor plans and don't want to run an obstacle course just to see your house. All right? I'm not saying this is the best thing, but that's all I did. So number 2 is artfully off kilter. And so I might say neutral art, finish feel. So let me just look at what this says. 60 up of best practices. So I would say, I actually would say something like art for art's sake. And that is actually a line from a 10cc song. But anyhow, there was a 10cc. It was a rock group before your time. Anyhow, so never heard of that. And so they actually have a a song called "Art for Art's Sake." So you understand what I'm doing? I'm not copying anything, right? I'm just paraphrasing it. And so artwork is personal, but should be neutral when staging your home. Yes, you should take down your velvet Elvis picture. See, does everybody see what I'm right? Yeah, does everybody see what I'm doing? Right? How hard is this? Right? The wrong rug. Right? So I try to come up with something, rugs. I did not read this article before I did this. Right? You understand? And I haven't spent any time. I haven't spent any time researching this, or I wasn't really thinking about it. So the wrong rug. Rugs are a great safety tool you can use to change the color perspective when you use regular rug. Here are 3 areas of rug help: tiny colossal canyon, tiny territory.
So your grandfather's spare rug may be a precious heirloom.
So do I have to do the whole thing, right? But does everybody understand what I'm going to do? Now, what I'm doing is when I'm done, I would probably put at the bottom a link to Trulia's website. Right at the very bottom, I might do that, but I really don't care. There's a question. The way I've done this, I don't need to give them a link.
So you're saying you might link it to the original?
I might, but I'm not. The way I'm doing it now, I'm not going to link it because I haven't copied and pasted anything, and I'm not using their exact words. Right?
It's quoting.
I'm not even quoting them.
No,
but you can.
Copy and paste.
But you could quote them. Let's say there was 1 or 2 lines that really stood out. You could quote them. But when you start quoting people, they prefer a link. But do I want them to go to Trulia's website? No, I do not want them to go to Trulia's website because there's probably ads. But now, how many of you get the daily news from NAR? There's that little thing that NAR sends out. Have you ever looked at what they're doing? They're paraphrasing an article, and at the bottom they have a link to the article. That's all they're doing, right? 99% of all their posts are them paraphrasing an article they read someplace else. Couldn't you do that too? So let's just assume that I've gone through all 7. Once I've done, and the reason I'm doing this in Notepad is I want to have something open while I'm looking at it. If I had 2 computer screens, I'd have one on one, one on the other, and I just want to paraphrase and add a little bit of my own self to it. You understand? That's all I want to do. Now that I've done and I've copied this, I could, I'm going to go to Blogger, and I'm going to go here to. I'm just going to close this, and I'm going to click on the little pencil, and I'm going to paste it in, right? And it has a spell checker, which is good and this is the Google spell checker, and thank you, Obstacle, and they even probably have, all right, so. They don't know what Trulia is, so I'm going to just tell them to ignore that because I don't like to see the yellow things. And so what I want to do is, and the title would be something like Thinking of Selling. Here are some staging mistakes to avoid. And then what I would do, now obviously I didn't do all 7, but I'm assuming you can, you can extrapolate. That's the word I was looking for. So what I'm going to do is I would then say, if you would like more information about OUT getting your home ready to sell for the highest possible price, give me a call for a free property evaluation. Right? And then I would put in my name, phone number, email, and then what I would probably also do, now some of this is getting into the realm of, well, I'll just show you. What I would do is, remember we're talking about home staging mistakes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of the worst because it may or may not be helping me, and home staging mistakes. I'll just go with that. And I'm going to click on images, and I'm going to look for a picture that looks, how about, how about
Oh, God.
right, and so I'm going to go save image as, and this says deer heads, so if somebody's searching for deer heads, that tag would work, but I'm going to say home staging mistakes, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to go back to my post. And when you're putting in a picture, where your cursor is sort of important. And I want it in the top right, so I'm going to put my cursor right to the right of that line. Click on image, and I'm going to choose the file, and I'm going to click on home staging mistakes. And now this is a new thing with Google. Maybe it's not going to, I'm going to click on this, add selected, and I notice it's by default centering it. I'm going to click on right, and so what it's doing is it's put the picture in right there. Right? And if I click on it, I could make it a smaller picture if I wanted. Right? Now that was just one of many things. How much time I got? So could you do that in 15 minutes? Right? Find an article, paraphrase it. Now, if you really are really want to, if you copy the article and paste it in,
Would you do that?
if you link to their site, they probably will.
No, but I mean, can you physically do that? Just
Physically, I've installed a program called Shareaholic, and one of Shareaholic's choices is Blogger. It's here someplace. WordPress Blogger Post. And what Shareaholic is going to do is it's going to, first of all, show me all my Blogger blogs. It may default to the one I have open. Notice it already has the link in it, right? And so what I would do is I would go back here, and I'm copying all that, and I'm putting this in here, and what I've basically done is stolen the whole article, but you see this link is here. And what Trulia is probably going to do is forgive me because I've done something they want very much, in that I've linked to their site. They want that. I've actually had in the past people, by the way, there is software that will tell you, it's a very cheap subscription if anybody's copied your stuff and used it anywhere in the world on the internet. The idea that they're not going to find me, they're going to find you. I've also, by the way, had people write me an email saying, don't do this anymore. Don't use my stuff.
Okay.
Right? But people like Zillow and Trulia, if you give them a link, right? Now you're only supposed to have 1/3 of it that you're supposed to quote. What they would really like, you see, this is what they would really like, is that I take out all that stuff, so that in order to read the 7 things, I have to go to the site. Right? That's what they would really like. But they're probably going to forgive me if I give them a link. You understand, the more people that link to Trulia's site, the better Trulia's site is. In a way, they would love it if 50,000 real estate agents stole their article. Who do they care? about staging Sims and linked to their site. I actually had one of those companies send me an email thanking me for the link. And I had stolen their article. When I saw the email, I thought, oh, shit. Right. That's another threatening email from somebody's lawyer, and it was an account manager from one of these sites saying, "Hey, it was really glad you liked our content. Thanks for the link." Right? Did you understand if they had 50,000 agents steal their article on staging, put it on their blog with a link to Trulia? Do you know what that does for Trulia's search engine optimization? It shoots it up through the roof. But I'm not really interested in doing, but so this linking thing, see how easy that was? That was really easy to do. And I click publish post and it sends it right to my blog and publishes it. That's really easy. You can save it as a draft down here. All right. If I save it as a draft, and then I could, but you understand, not a good thing. So the ones that I would do the copy and link are only websites where I don't really care if they go to.
Or if you want them to, like KW website.
Yeah, but I really don't want them. It doesn't help me.
That's
What
right.
I want them to do is I want them to come to my site.
Right.
Now, by the way, just so now they're here. Okay, now they're here. So let's say, and I'm just going to save this. Notice labels. I'm not going to post this. Notice labels. Home staging.
Oh, labels.
By the way, there's a program called, I don't really know.
What was that?
I'm going to do this. It's a little button here. There's a program. I don't know. I'll do this in another class. There's a program called Zamanta, which will come up with labels for you. But my labels are home staging, getting your home, HOME, ready to sell. So by giving it labels, we're helping Google out. Home selling tips. All right, done. Notice I can schedule it. So if I one day wrote a bunch of these, I blocked an hour, I wrote a bunch of them, I could schedule when I want it to be posted. Because Google would like, if you want to do one a day, that doesn't mean you actually have to do them all each day. You could on Sunday write 10, schedule them, right? A permalink is a link to that article, which I'm not going to get into right now. Location is I could tell Google where I am. And sometimes that's, I don't know, some people care about that. And these other options, let's not get into any of these break tags and HTML code. Do you understand that's all that I've done? I've made it. And what I'm going to do is, I don't really, Blogger wants to use my computer's location, why not? So I'm just going to click on preview, and maybe it'll let me preview. So there we are, thinking of selling.
Well, but for, oh, okay, I thought you guys under Sylvia. For Sylvia, part of her clientele may want to see vehicles.
That's right. Actually, they have cow heads on the wall down there. So find another picture. I did not, you notice I didn't spend a lot of, time doing this, right? So could you do this? Now, other things you could do.
I thought we were supposed to have a blog by today.
Yes.
Like by the end of this class?
No, to have created one.
Are we going to do something now?
We just did something.
You did.
I did something. Yeah. Why do you guys want to write a blog? I don't know. I'm gonna have to make this longer for us to.
Is that what you're asking?
No, what I said last
It was a
week
challenge that we have a blog done by today.
that you've actually
Some
created
people
one.
took up on it.
Micah has a blog.
Do you have a blog?
Rick has a blog. Sylvia has a blog. And all right, so I don't know if you found that useful. I have 7 minutes. Other things we could do. All right, let's just say we had let me just do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the blog to make it a little bit. I'm going to do one more thing on a how-to, and I'm going to ask you guys to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick somebody's website. How about Sweet Home San Jose, SJOSE.com. See, I don't know whose site that is.
Gee.
And there we go. So I'm going to click on the Buy tab. And now, one of the things about this that I just want to call to your attention, what Jennifer has done is she's gone into Google and forwarded the domain with masking. Now, the value of that is at the top. It says sweethomesanjose.com. If I click on the Buy tab, notice it still says sweethomesanjose.com. It doesn't say buy, right? And so that's one of the problems you get with masking. So that doesn't mean you have to turn off masking. It means if we want this link to work, we have to go to jenniferstrange.kwrealty.com. How about that? So that's the original domain. Now when we click on buy, notice it has jenniferstrange.kwrealty.com/search. That's a link we can copy. So we've copied the link. Where am I going with this? Well, I don't really think, so on the blog, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to view blog. I don't really need all that about me stuff, right? I really don't need that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on design, and this is being recorded, so I'll slow down. I'm going to go to layout. And what layout is going to do is it's going to show me that I have this gadget that says about me. Does everybody see that? If I click on that, I'm going to click on remove, and it's now gone, right? I could add it if I wanted to. It's got a blog archive, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gadget. Now, this is one of the powerful things about Blogspot is they already have a bunch of Google Plus Translate, popular post blog pages, JavaScript. There's just so much fun stuff. So what I'm going to do is I want an image that says find a home. I just want an image. And so I'm going to type that in, click on images. So find your home. How about that? Now, you could find the home of your dreams. Why not? That's a nice, I want something that's a little boxy. Now, if you're saying, well, these are images that other people have, and if I use them, then, they're going to sue me and I'll go to prison and all that sort of stuff if they find me, that you could have your own custom image made. Does anybody know where you could get a custom image made that has the words that you wanted that only cost $5? Fiverr. So I'm just going to steal this now. Fiverr, right? And so I'm not going to re-tag it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So I'm going to go back here and find my blog, and I'm going to click on Add a Gadget, and I'm going to look to see if there's an image gadget. Who'd have thought? There's an image gadget. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the little plus sign. Just a coincidence. I've done this before. Notice there's two choices, a link. Remember that thing that we copied that says jenniferstrange.kwrealty? Now we're going to, so I'm pasting it in. Now what that link is where are they going to go when they click on your image? Now I'm going to say choose file. I'm going to find the home. I'm going to open it. It's going to go around and around and around. I'm going to let it do usually I let it do shrink to fit. I'm going to click on save. Required field must not be blank. Which field is it? Title. Home search. I didn't really know I had to do that, but so notice I have a home search. If I wanted the archive above, notice I can move these things around. So I'm going to click on Save Arrangement. I'm going to view the blog. And notice it now has Find the Home of Your Dreams. And what happens if somebody clicks on it? They go to Jennifer's search page. Could we do Find Out What Your Home Is Worth? Could we? So one of the things about the title is that you don't necessarily have to have a graphic that says what it is you want. In other words, it's since you have to have a title, the title could say "Find your home's value." Then you have a picture of whatever you like. Link the picture. Did everybody catch all that? And by the way, if you miss something, how would you find out? You could go to Google and ask Google. Now, this is a relatively powerful blogging platform. Look I can add gadgets below and gadgets at the side and gadgets at the bottom. And I could, by the way, you ought to put your BRE number and the name. What the Bureau of Real Estate wants you to say your name, who you work for, and what your BRE number is. Notice you could do that. I don't know about attribution down here, how much of this. Copyright, you could say you're copywriting it. But one of the gadgets you can put, let's say we want to do this at the bottom. One of the gadgets is called a text gadget. By the way, there's a follow by email. This so people can subscribe and they will get emails every time you post something. You could go down here, text. Oh, there's a text gadget. So I'm going to click on that, and here it's I could say about me, or how about this? I could, because I could just say Jennifer Strange. Let's say this is hers. I would type in. Notice I can even do formatting and all sorts of cool stuff. Keller Williams Realty San Jose - Silicon Valley. By the way, do you know that our official name with Keller Williams is San Jose - Silicon Valley? Right. That's our official name, San Jose Silicon Valley. I was at the instructor development workshop in Austin. I talked to Diana Kokoska, and she looks at my name badge and she goes, "Hi, Mike," and she had saw me at the coaching skills camp, and the first thing she said to me was, "Where's Campbell?" Right, which is the most common question I get asked when I'm at Keller Williams events. They're, "Where's Campbell?" Right? And I always make some snide remark like we're right down the street from a little company you may have heard of called eBay. But when I say San Jose, people say, "Oh yeah, oh you're from San Jose, right?" And Silicon Valley. I'm just saying that is our official Keller Williams name. Are more people searching for San Jose or Campbell? Probably San Jose. So then I would say CILBRE number 0000, right? Whatever it is. And if I click on save, what this has now done, if I view the blog, is down here at the very bottom. And by the way, if I had posts, this would just be push down, push down, push down, push down. But down at the very, very bottom, it has Jennifer's name, who she works for, and her BRE number. Now, you could put in more information if you wanted to, but
Why would that gadget be right underneath the other gadget in that column?
well, I'm not, the BRE number and the name of the office is a requirement for the Bureau of Real Estate, but not necessarily something that you need to make prominent. So, for example, if I wanted, what you ought to do is maybe have a gadget. See, all these little gadgets, I could create another gadget. Let's say I wanted to do text again. And now I might have a gadget that says about me. And I would say, and then phone number, email, and notice this little guy here, which is a little like a link sign. If you put in your email address, people are going to spam you. Right? You said there's little robots that look at websites for email addresses. So if I do that and I click on this link button, I could link it to something else. Right? If I wanted to. This one doesn't actually give me an email, but I could put in, so she could put in her name and her phone number and all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to, it's really easy to get rid of these things. So what this would now do is, notice it's got her contact information right up there at the top. Right up there at the top. And so we could make her name bigger and her phone number bigger and things like that. Yes?
Is that Is that how you create that thing where you click on email and it opens up an email?
This one doesn't do that.
But you could create
It's
it
possible to do that, certainly.
without giving away your email.
Right. And does anybody have a suggestion as how you do that easily?
Ask Google.
You could ask Google. We also could go to Blogger and write a blog post, which has, because Blogger has a more robust, we could just write a blog post and then copy those words and paste it in. So it says email and it's linked and it's linked to your email. We can do that at what I want you to, do I need to do that now? Anyhow, what I wanted you to see is notice without a little bit of work, and I didn't go to the trouble of making it bold and upper and do all that sort of stuff, but not very difficult was it to put in links to our website.
So on that text box, you can't put an image, you can't put a picture in there.
Sure you can.
There's a widget.
If you click on this, all right, I'm clicking on the edit button. See, this is since I've logged in, I can edit it. Notice it says edit HTML. All right. So what that means is that this doesn't, if I click on this, that doesn't look very good. But let's say I go to Blogger and I create a blog post, right? And I'm not doing this because I'm going to post anything. I'm just doing this. So in it, I say, right, now notice way more choices, right? See that? Way more choices. So I highlight this. I could change what kind of font I want. I want to make this large. She wants her name bold. And then I'm going to click on link. Now notice what it gives me is two choices. Now I'm going to unlink this right now, but let's say I'm going to type in email. All right. Now I highlight email and I click on link. Notice what Blogger does. It gives me two choices. One is to a website and one is to an email address. So what Jennifer do is she'd type in her email address here. I'm just going to type in mine at kw.com, right? And when I click on OK, now it's added a link to the email, right? All that works. I could also put in her website. I could put in all this sort of stuff. And now when I'm done, I click on HTML, I copy the HTML, and I go back to wherever I was, where I was looking at the one of these someplace. So let me go back here, and I'll find it. I go to the About Me section, which is a gadget here. I click on Edit HTML, and I replace it with that other HTML, and so now it doesn't look like it's working. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, there it is. It works. There's the blue link.
So what happens when you click on it? It goes to.
Well, it's probably going to go to mine. It's the links may not work in the preview mode. So if I just go to Save Arrangement and I go to View Blog, I just put in my email, and if I click on it, what it's going to do is it's going to open up whatever email program the person has as a default, and it's going to be putting in your email address. So the idea is that you could text the text thing, and by the way, one of the other gadgets you can add is called HTML code, right? So you could design something, change the color, see what happened. It launched it with the email all ready to send an email.
Nice.
All right. So with a little bit of work, we could see that already starts to look like a website.
And then from there on in, you're just adding content and all that stuff stays the same.
Right. And by the way, it's on, and we could add pages to it. So for example, you could have a blog that said something like current market statistics, or something about schools, or something about first-time homebuyer loan programs, and you can add pages and pages.
And it's all under that same San Jose Life.
Right. It's all part of my San Jose Life and Real Estate blogspot.com.
Or I could do what's cooking in Gilroy and put my stats. You know?
Right. Right. And you could do that. So statistics can be handled two different ways. You can do both. One is you make a post. And each time you make a post, you're allowed to categorize the post. So, and what that does is it creates on the right-hand side a little drop-down list. So one of the things would say, let's say Gilroy Market Statistics, and somebody could click on that. They'd see all the posts that you've written about that are categorized as Gilroy Market Statistics. Right, chronologically, first one all the way going back. Right, or you could create a page that says Gilroy Market Statistics and keep posting stuff on top, and people have that one doesn't look as well, but sometimes you might want it for what's current. So, what was this enough? So, what I would like you to do is to find something to add a link to your website for a search, to add a link to your website. What are the different links, right? Any of you who've had me help you make an email signature know the list. What is your home worth? Run a home search. You could even do one for open houses. Some of you have seen me do that because you could do a search for open houses, download a mobile app, and interested in a real estate career. And so you could find a little icon for each one of those and stack them up on top, and they would all be there. That's in the sidebar. All right. I've gone over. And I don't even know if this was recording or not. Yes, it looks like it was.